Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the T-6 Jedi Shuttle with Ahsoka Tano from the Star Wars Mission Fleet line from Hasbro. So just in time for tonight's season finale. I hope it's not the series finale, I hope we get another season. But the final episode of Ahsoka is tonight on Disney+, so I thought, what better time to take a look at this new Mission Fleet release. Now this is our big ship for the year, usually we get about one a year. Previously, we've had the Millennium Falcon, we've had the Razor Crest, we had the Fire Spray, Boba Fett Starship, whatever we're calling it now. And so this is kind of our big ship for the year. We have the plastic-free packaging, some fun artwork of Ahsoka piloting it here on the front, and then we have some actual product shots here of the actual figure that's included, and then of course the ship with the figure down here. Since it's plastic-free, we don't get the little window. We used to get a little window to the actual figure down in the corner, but all just artwork. Up here shows two other releases that are available. So, of course, we have the N1 with Mando and Grogu. And then we have Bo-Katan and her Mandalorian ship. Down here, not really anything going on. Over here says Ahsoka. Always just says the name of the fiction that this is from. And then it shows that the wings can flip around. And then over here, some of the other features. Cockpit opens. Looks like there is a compartment in the back. I was really hoping that there was going to be something in the back there. And then, of course, a bunch of firing missiles. And then we have the one-to-one pick here on the back. So this is how big the ship's going to be. 2 missile launchers, 2 missiles, and, of course, our Ahsoka figure. So, looks pretty fun. I'm going to go ahead, open this all up, and put it together if there's anything that needs assembling. And we'll take a closer look. So here's our T-6 Jedi Shuttle with Ahsoka Tano. We'll take a look at Ahsoka real quick. I believe this to be the exact same Ahsoka figure that came in that Grogu training adventure set with Luke. I don't think there's anything different here. She has the 2 clear lightsabers, which you can see pop into her hand pretty easily. We will take those out. Articulation is very standard for this line, so you have the head on a ball joint. Can't really do too much front to back, but can look side to side, no problem. Hinges here in the shoulders, as well as a rotation. You have a wrist rotation. They're a little tight, but they do move. I don't think they're stuck at all, so that's good. And then we do have the 90-degree bend at the knee. You can bend backwards a little bit, but not a ton. I think the paint applications on the face look really nice. Did a great job there. It's a little weird around the shoulders. As you can see, it kind of looks like the actual shoulder piece, the joint piece, is a different color. My guess is that they probably molded this whole piece out of this color plastic and then had to paint it to match the joint, and it's just not perfect, but it's not terrible. It's a little bit more noticeable on this one because I think the paint's a little bit clunkier. Over here, it's not too bad. But overall, it's a nice looking figure. I think they did a good job with it. And I do really like the accessories. So we'll put her off to the side for a moment so we can check out our T-6 Jedi Shuttle. I think it's a pretty good size, honestly. They did a nice job with it. It does come with these 2 missile launchers. They are identical. Press this button on the top to fire. Fires very well. Kind of simplistic, kind of this brownish gray color with the yellow piece of plastic for the firing button. And then you have these translucent blue missiles. And you just pop them in, no problem, and then fire. So, no issue there. Pretty standard. You have 4 different spots, 2 on each wing where you can connect them. So you could put them here on the back, like I have them here. Or you could move them up, put them here on the front. Or you could do one of each, however you like it. Put them both on the same wing, you could do that too. I think that looks a little goofy because I think they're too far extended in front of the canopy there, but I kind of like to put them on the back. Now, the way this works, let me zoom out here a bit. The wings on the underside are a little like hollow. They're indented a little bit, but they did still paint them. So I think they still look really good. And it doesn't really bother me all that much that they're kind of indented. I really didn't expect them to kind of be flush. And you can kind of still peg these in. It's not a super snug fit, but if you wanted to mount them on the bottom, you kind of can. They work a little bit better in the front than they do here in the back, only because this lip here is kind of hitting into the back of the missile launcher. And so they'll kind of sit, but they kind of fall out. I feel like this one might be a little bit more snug. Yeah. but they still kind of fall out. So you're better off just, you know, attaching them to the top section here. We do have landing gear. We can flip that out here. There are 2 on the back. And 1 here underneath on the front. And then it will balance very nicely with the landing gear. You can kind of rock it a little bit, but for the most part, it'll even out and it should be fine. So they did paint kind of, well, is it 2? It might actually be 2 different colors of plastic, actually, now that I look at it. I'm thinking it's the red, well, it's got to be inlet like, yeah, I think if you look at this pretty closely, you can see that this is one piece of plastic, and then this piece here is kind of inlaid there so that they match. And then this is connected. So it's not painted. That's why I guess they wouldn't have painted it on the underside. It is actually different colored plastic, but, you know, it works. I think it gets it across. The only paint is this silver stripe here on the 2 top part of the wings. And that's really not too bad. I think that looks pretty good. Nice and shiny silver there. And then I'm guessing this is paint, but I think this is different colored plastic. On the back here, we have this little piece that I'm assuming is the back gunner pod. If you've watched the series, I think Sabine comes in the back here and uses, like, mans the guns in the back. So I think that's what that's supposed to replicate. And then you have some blue plastic here for inside the thrusters. I think that looks pretty good. This section can open up, and it's actually pretty big. And the nice thing about it is because you have this recessed cavity up here, you can actually, there's little peg spots down there for their feet, and you could have a character stand up. Well, I promise you can. Let me just have her, it'll be easier to peg it in this way. So you could have her stand and still close this no problem, which is nice. Now, if you want, you do also have plenty of room to have the character sit. There's no problem there, so you could do that as well. But if you stand them up, I think you could probably, I would say pretty easily fit 3 characters if they were all kind of standing in front of each other, which might look a little awkward, but if you're just looking for character storage, if you want, you know, multiple characters to ride in the ship together, I think that's pretty cool. When they first showed off pictures of this, they didn't really show what was going on with the rear of the ship, and I was kind of worried that it was just going to be solid. So I do appreciate that you can fit some characters back here. That's kind of nice. In the front here, of course, the canopy opens as well. And you have one little seat. And then you can just sit her in here like so. And then close this up. And there's a lot of space in there, so I'm pretty sure any Mission Fleet character would fit. It's pretty big. I mean, technically, if you wanted, you could probably put 2 in there. If you're just literally trying to pack characters into the cockpit, it would look very strange. But I think you could probably fit 2 in there if you really wanted to, because it's pretty large. But yeah, overall, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I like the size. If you think about the fact that you have 1 character in the cockpit and probably 3 in the back, I think the fact that it can hold 4 figures is pretty great. The landing gear, I think, works well. The missiles attach very nicely to the top. It's a bit of a bummer that you can't attach them to the bottom, because I'd kind of like to have, you know, 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom for the next configuration, which I'll show you in a moment. But I don't think it's that big of a deal, and at least because they use different colored plastic, most of the detail still comes through on the bottom, even though it is kind of indented a little bit. So that doesn't really bother me all that much. Aside from the fact that you can't really attach the missile launchers underneath, I don't really mind it being indented. Now, what you can do, the last thing I wanted to show off, you can, of course, rotate the wings. Now, you cannot rotate them this way. You cannot rotate them that way. You have to rotate it like this, and then you can have it cruise around. Let me see if I can lift this up a little bit. So you can have it fly around like this. I think they did that because they wanted this side profile to kind of be the better looking side, because this is kind of indented. They, for whatever reason, didn't want that side to be facing this way. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I think it's cool. I think it's neat that the wings can rotate, and then of course you just rotate this back, and it kind of hits a natural stopping point. Like you can't force it more this way, and when you get to here, you can't force it more that way. So like it has natural stopping points. It works really well. It's not loose. It won't move around or anything like that. So I think it's pretty cool. It's a really neat little ship. I think it looks good. Color scheme's good. I like the fact that it can hold a decent amount of characters. And it does kind of have the gun pod there on the back, which I think is cool. It has the landing gear. Honestly, my only nitpicks, my only negatives, I'll say, I wish you could attach missiles to the underneath, because when I have it vertical, I'd kind of like to put one on each side. But that's just me. Honestly, that's really kind of it. That's really my only nitpick. Otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously, I would love it if they included more than just one figure with ships this large. I feel like you could definitely... With the smaller releases, I totally understand, you know, one character and a speeder bike or one character and a walker, something like that. But for the larger ships, I feel like they really could do 2 characters. And I would love to get... the name's escaping me, but the droid that David Tennant plays. I would have loved to get him with Ahsoka. I think that would have been absolutely fantastic, especially because all throughout the series, is it Wu? Not Wu Fei. Wu Fei is one of the Gundam pilots. I don't know. It's something like that, and I apologize. It is escaping me at the moment. But those, you know, those 2 characters are like always together in this ship, and I think that would have been really cool if they could have put 2 figures with this release, especially like they did the Falcon with just Han. Would have made sense to do Han and Chewie. You know, the Fire Spray, they could have done Boba Fett and Fennec Shand. And then, of course, I think they did actually give us Grogu and the Mandalorian with the Razor Crest, because I guess Grogu's so tiny that they can pack him in as an accessory. But yeah, it would be nice if for the larger ships they could start giving us 2 figures and a larger ship. Even if they had to bump it up to an even 50 then, I think I'd be okay with it. Because these larger ships are usually in the area of 45. But I would be okay with it being an even 50 if it came with an extra character. And even if like that extra character was exclusive to this set. Because obviously we've got plenty of Ahsoka figures throughout the line at this point. Well, I guess we have 2. But she's been released several times, we'll say that. With different sets. She had the Jedi Starfighter, she had that basic set with the little jet ski looking thing, and now we have her with the Grogu training set and here. So 4 different ways to get 2 different versions. It would have been nice to have like an exclusive figure of the droid and more incentive to pick up all the different sets. So that's my only critique. I wish it had more figures. And I wish you could attach the missiles to the underneath. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. I think you get a great figure. She comes with the 2 lightsabers, which are great accessories. I like the ship. I think it looks very cool. They recreated it from the show very well. Obviously, they can't make it as big as it appears to be on the show and have the entire interior and everything like that. I didn't expect that. But I do really appreciate that you can fit extra characters there in the back, as well as her in the cockpit. So yeah, I say check it out. I found this on Walmart.com. That's the only place I've seen it so far. I haven't seen it in any stores. I haven't seen it on Amazon, anything like that. Walmart.com was the only place I found it so far. That's where I grabbed this one. And I believe it was $45. I believe that's what the price was. So I think it's definitely worth checking out. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.